All right, guys, I'm here today to go over one of the most lucrative tax loopholes. It is the most exciting loophole in the tax system. You got to see it. You got to believe it. I want to go over three things. I want to go over the tax-free returns that you can get on your primary residence. I want to go over the occupancy requirement, and then also talk about using this loophole as an investment strategy. So when it comes to getting tax-free returns, first, it has not always been this way. So in 1997, in order to get tax-free growth on your house, which is how it is now, you can actually get tax-free returns on the sale of your house. You would only get, you had a limit of $125,000, and it was a lifetime limit. So if you sold and made a profit on your primary residence of $125,000, and you went out and bought another house and sold it and made $1, you'd have to pay taxes on that $1. So totally different now. What we're looking at today, and this is the really cool thing when it comes to selling your house or helping somebody like a relative that might not know this information, is $250,000 is the amount of gain each person can get on the growth, the gain of their house without paying any taxes. And if you're married, guess what, guys? You got a benefit. Each of you will get the $250,000 in tax-free gain on that single house sale. And you can use it over and over and over again. So you can use this on one house now, and then 8 years in the future, you guys are in another house and you make another $100,000 or $200,000 in gains on the sale of the house. Well, guess what? It's tax-free too. So what are the requirements when it comes to getting this tax-free gain? In a quick example, just so everyone's getting what I'm saying, if you bought a house for $750,000 and you sold that house for $250,000, now you're not going to have to pay tax just because you sold the house for $750,000. It's only on the gain. So we subtract the purchase price or the repairs and purchase price off of what we sold it for. So there's a gain of $500,000. Well, if we're married, we're completely okay. We just got $500,000 tax-free. There are a couple things we need to go over, though, by the way, before we get too excited. Now, there is an occupancy requirement. The occupancy requirement, what the government considers to be your primary residence, is what's going to qualify for this, or your principal residence, rather. So your principal residence is anything you've lived in for at least 2 years of the last 5. So not the last 2 years, but as long as you've lived there 2 of the last 5. Another thing to keep in mind, especially for some of your older relatives, is that if they have a spouse that recently passed away, or if you did, I know that's a tough concept to think about, but if your spouse does pass away or it's happened to you, first, I want to send out my condolences, but also do keep in mind that if you have a large profit on the house that you're currently living in, it's going to sell for a lot more than you guys bought it for. Then you only have 2 years from the date of death in order to use your spouse's additional $250,000 in gains. So if you're already planning on moving out of the house, you want to go ahead and do that. Or if you have a relative, a grandma, grandpa, mom, or dad that had passed away, and the other parent is still living there, it is something to consider to sell that house. If it's to go ahead and rush it if there's a bunch of profit to be made, because you can get that tax-free. Also, on another downer note, it is important to know that if someone does move into a nursing home, you do have some additional profit that you can get out of there tax-free after the 5 years, but it does start dwindling because it's only a percentage of what it used to be. But the exciting part about investing, now using this as an investment strategy is the coolest thing, because instead of just flipping houses, which maybe you're doing already, you have an LLC and you're flipping properties and everything's going great, well, you should definitely take advantage of this, because getting tax-free gains on the sale of a house is something that's unheard of. Anything tax-free is something you got to go after. So when we have a house and we purchase it, and this is just going over an ideal situation. I realize not everybody's going to run into a perfect ideal situation and make a ton of profit on a house. But let's take a look at a quick example. If we take a house that we bought maybe at foreclosure or something that we found that we were going to flip, and we purchased it for $100,000, and we did $50,000 in repairs. So we're into this house $150,000. These kind of deals are out there. And 2 years later, we sell the house for $300,000. We would profit $150,000. Well, a lot of flippers out there and real estate guys are just saying, yeah, so what? Yeah, I know I can do that. Maybe there aren't great deals out there like that as often as there used to be, but I know I can do that. Well, guess what? If you live in that house and you actually watch over your own investment, and you're not using hard money, you're actually buying the house, which is even better because you're not using hard money. You're using a conventional loan that's way cheap. Well, if we did this strategy and we actually did this 3 times in a row, so in a time frame as short as 6 years, we could be making a profit. And maybe we're not making $150,000 profit each and every time, but let's take in this example and look at it. And let's say that we lived in the house for 2 years at least, 2 of the last 5 years, and we sold the house. And we did make that $150,000 in profit. We would be making a total over a 6 to 7 year time frame. We'd be making a total profit of $150,000, $150,000, $150,000, a total of $450,000. The profit of $450,000 in this example is the equivalent of $800,000. I mean, you're getting close to $1 million. You do this one more time, you're over $1 million of pre-tax profit. So something definitely to take advantage of and think of when it comes to flipping houses or investing in properties, to go ahead and live in one of those houses for at least 2 years and just net all that gain. All right, guys, take care. Go ahead and subscribe and hit me up if you guys have any questions. I'm going to be making some more videos. If you have some more investment strategies, let me know and I'll dive into them if I know anything about them. All right, take care.